Okay, so we're diving into the world of prompt engineering today. And let me tell you, your Wardley map is impressive.
Mm.
It's not every day we see someone mapping out a whole field like this.
Well, I'm really glad you find it useful. The goal was to really dig deep and figure out not just the what, but the where of it all.
And that's what makes this deep dive so interesting. We're not just talking about prompt engineering in general. We're talking about
Sure.
your vision, your roadmap to the future of AI.
Exactly. And what I find fascinating is how the map doesn't just list out the pieces of the puzzle, but shows us where each piece stands on its journey from like, hey, this is brand new to, okay, this is the established way to do
It's
things.
like having a GPS for navigating the world of AI. You've got your starting point and your destination, but seeing the terrain in between. That's where the real insights are.
I like that analogy a lot.
So for those tuning in who maybe haven't quite gotten their hand dirty with prompt engineering yet, could we do a quick level set? What are we even talking about when we say those words?
You bet. So imagine you've got this incredibly powerful AI at your disposal, ready to tackle any problem you throw at it. But here's the catch. You need to know how to talk to it, how to phrase your questions and instructions in a way that gets you the insights you're looking for. That's prompt engineering in a nutshell.
So it's like instead of speaking English or Spanish or whatever, we're learning the language of AI.
Precisely.
Yeah.
It's about crafting those prompts, those instructions that guide the AI to generate the best possible responses for whatever you're trying to do.
Okay, I think I'm starting to get it. So it's not just about telling the AI what to do. It's about having a conversation with it, almost like you would with another person.
You got it. It's about guiding the AI towards a specific goal with crystal clear instructions.
Yeah.
You're shaping how the AI thinks and responds within that specific context.
Which makes me think about all those times I've interacted with chatbots that just completely miss the point or give me those generic canned responses. It's like they have no clue what I'm actually asking.
Right, and that's where prompt engineering comes in. It's about moving beyond those frustrating experiences and unlocking the true potential of AI.
So less robot, more like talking to a helpful assistant who actually understands what you need.
Exactly. And your map actually highlights three major ways you see this playing out. Question answer with sources, chat question answer, and question answer private data. And these aren't just abstract ideas. Each one represents a real-world application of this technology.
Okay, those use cases already have me hooked, and I bet our listener is right there with me. Let's dive into what these actually look like in practice. Can you give us a real-world scenario for question answer with sources?
Sure. Picture this. You're a student up late working on a research paper, right? You've got stacks of articles and books surrounding you, each one packed with information. But instead of spending hours poring over every single page, you have an AI assistant that can instantly scan all those documents for you.
That sounds amazing already. I can't tell you how many all-nighters I pulled back in my college days just trying to get through all the reading.
Oh, I feel you. And it doesn't stop there. This AI assistant doesn't just scan the documents, it can actually answer your questions about them and even point you to the exact page and paragraph where that information is located.
No more endless scrolling or frantic note-taking. That would have been a game changer back in the day.
It would be a game changer for anyone who deals with a lot of information. And that level of pinpoint accuracy is what good prompt engineering is all about. But let's take that a step further with chat question answer.
All right, let's hear it. What's chat question answer all about?
Think about those frustrating customer service chatbots that seem to reset every time you ask a new question. You end up repeating yourself constantly.
Oh, tell me about it. It's like they have zero memory of the conversation.
Exactly, and it's infuriating. But now imagine a chatbot that actually remembers your past interactions, learns from each question, and provides truly personalized support based on your specific needs and history with the company. That's the potential of chat question answer.
So no more starting from scratch with every new representative you get connected to. The chat bot remembers your issue, your order history, the whole 9 yards.
You got it. It's about creating a seamless and personalized customer service experience that feels natural and intuitive.
Okay, we've covered research and customer service. What about question answer private data? I'm intrigued, but it also sounds a bit, well, sensitive.
You're right to point that out. This is where things get even more interesting. We're talking about AI potentially revolutionizing fields like healthcare by analyzing sensitive patient data, but doing it in a way that maintains strict privacy and compliance standards.
It sounds like with question answer private data, the potential benefits are enormous, but it will require some serious thought around how we ensure the data is used responsibly.
Absolutely. You've hit the nail on the head. It's not just about the technology itself, but also the ethical considerations that come with using this kind of information.
It's a lot to unpack, but that's why we're here, right? To dive deep and explore all the angles.
Exactly.
So we've talked about what those exciting real-world applications of prompt engineering, but your map also dives into the how, the techniques and tools that make it all possible. And I have to say, looking at all those terms, it can feel a bit like navigating a bit of a tech jungle.
You're right, there are a lot of moving parts. But I think we can shed some light on the key players without getting too lost in the technical weeds. Why don't we start with that techniques cluster, since that seems to be at the core of how this all works?
Sounds like a plan. Seeing techniques right there in the center of the map does make it feel pretty important. What exactly are we talking about when we say techniques in the world of prompt engineering?
This is where the real artistry of prompt engineering comes into play. It's about the methods and strategies used to craft those effective prompts. For example, you've got chains, which involve creating a sequence of interconnected prompts. Think of it like designing a flowchart for an AI, breaking down a complex task into smaller, more manageable steps.
Okay, so instead of one big complicated prompt, it's like giving the AI a series of smaller prompts, almost like stepping stones to get to the final result.
Exactly. Each prompt in the chain acts as a guidepost, steering the AI's thinking process and keeping it on track. It's like having a conversation where each question and answer builds a more complete picture.
That makes a lot of sense. Now, another technique you've highlighted on your map is fine-tuning, and this one really caught my eye. What makes fine-tuning so special?
So imagine you have a general purpose AI that's pretty good at a lot of things, but you need it to excel in a very specific area. Fine-tuning is like giving that AI specialized training for that specific task. You're essentially tailoring its knowledge and abilities to make it even more accurate and efficient in that domain.
So instead of being a jack of all trades, we're helping the AI become a master of one.
Exactly. And to make this whole process even more efficient, we have prompt templates. These are like pre-designed prompts that provide a framework for achieving specific outcomes. Think of them as shortcuts for common tasks, saving you time and effort while ensuring consistency in the AI's output.
Kind of like having a set of go-to recipes when you're cooking. You don't have to start from scratch every time.
Exactly. It streamlines the whole process. But one thing that really stood out to me on your map and in your notes was the emphasis on memory. You're really highlighting this as a critical element, especially for those chatbot interactions we talked about earlier. Can you explain why memory is so crucial in this context?
You're right. Memory was something I wanted to make sure we dug into because it feels like a missing piece in so many of those frustrating chatbot experiences we've all had.
It's absolutely essential. For a chatbot to truly mimic a human-like conversation, it needs to remember what's been said earlier, just like we do. That's where memory comes in. It allows the AI to retain information from previous interactions, making the exchange much more personalized and helpful.
So no more robotic responses that completely ignore everything you just said 2 minutes ago.
Yeah,
The chatbot can actually follow along with the conversation.
exactly. With memory, those frustrating experiences where you have to repeat yourself constantly could become a thing of the past. But to handle all this information, the prompts, the responses, the memory, we need a robust system for storing and retrieving it all. And that brings us to the vector DB pipeline, another key element you've highlighted on your map.
Okay, vector DB. This is where I feel like we might be getting a bit more technical. Can you break down what that means in a way that makes sense for someone who isn't a database expert?
Think of a vector database as a specialized database designed specifically for the needs of AI and machine learning. It's all about efficiently storing, finding, and retrieving information. Your map highlights a variety of options, each with its own strengths and weaknesses. But choosing the right one can make a huge difference in how smoothly and effectively your AI systems operate.
So it's like making sure the AI has access to the right information at the right time.
Yep.
Kind of like a well-organized library where the AI knows exactly where to find that specific piece of data it needs.
Exactly. And speaking of access, your map also points to the role of open source tools in this space, and you specifically called out open source as a major accelerator in your notes. What makes this open approach so impactful for a field like prompt engineering?
It does feel like the open source world is exploding right now with new tools and platforms popping up all the time.
It's having a democratizing effect. While companies like Google and OpenAI are major players in the field, the rise of open source platforms, and you highlighted Hugging Face as a prime example, is making these powerful technologies accessible to a much wider range of developers and organizations.
So it's not just about a few big companies controlling everything. It's about fostering an ecosystem where anyone can contribute, experiment, and build on each other's work. And that's incredibly exciting because it often leads to even more innovation. But as we start exploring these more accessible tools and approaches, there's one area highlighted on your map that I think deserves its own conversation.
Hmm.
And that area is, of course, the fascinating world of private data. You've placed it front and center on your map, and I had to say that note you added about the demand for using private data increasing, that really caught my eye.
Yeah, it's a big one. Private data represents a huge opportunity, but also a big responsibility.
It does feel like we're on the cusp of a major shift where AI becomes less about one-size-fits-all solutions and more about truly individualized experiences.
Exactly. Imagine AI systems that are tailored to your unique medical history or your learning style or even your personal preferences for creative projects.
The level of customization we're talking about here could really change how we interact with technology in a profound way.
It has the potential to be incredibly transformative. But you bring up a really important point. As we delve deeper into the realm of personal data, we need to make sure we're handling this information responsibly.
It's not just about the technical aspects either, right? It's about building trust and transparency into these systems from the ground up.
Absolutely. We need to be very thoughtful about how we approach private data. It's not just about what we can do, but what we should do.
It's about striking that balance,
Yeah.
right? Harnessing the power of personalized AI while also protecting the privacy and autonomy of individuals.
Exactly. And that's where those ethical considerations come into play. It's a journey we need to take carefully, step by step.
Well said. And on that note, I think it's time to start wrapping up our deep dive into the world of prompt engineering. We've covered a lot of ground today, from the fundamental concepts of what prompt engineering actually is to those really exciting real-world applications. And of course, we couldn't forget about the techniques and tools that make it all possible. But most importantly, we did it all through the lens of your unique perspective, guided by your incredible Wardley Map.
It's been a really thought-provoking conversation. I always enjoy getting the chance to explore these topics in depth.
Me too.
Yeah.
And I especially love how your map highlights not just the what, but the where of it all, showing us where each piece of the puzzle stands on its journey from those emerging trends to the established best practices.
It's about understanding the landscape so you can make informed decisions about where to focus your time and energy.
Precisely. And for our listeners who are eager to keep exploring this fascinating world, remember this is just the beginning. Keep asking questions, keep experimenting, and who knows what incredible breakthroughs you might uncover.
The future of AI is waiting to be written, and prompt engineering is going to play a major role in shaping what that future looks like.
Couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
So until next time, keep those prompts sharp and those insights flowing.